Wow, it's week 3 already, and today we've got some game-changing stuff, a few simple things that you can do that can make a massive difference on your website. I've added all the written information for this week, as well as the steps into the checklist. So if you downloaded the link to those in week 1, and if you go to them now, then you can follow along with me. If you didn't download them, then you can do that by going to the description of this video and signing up for them there. The Kindle version of the written document is also available for anyone who prefers that over a PDF. The Kindle version can also work on an iPhone and an Android phone. Unfortunately, it has to be 99 cents because I can't make it free because I'm giving away the other written version for free. So it goes against Amazon's guidelines to do that. If there's some other platform that you would like me to make written instructions available on, then please let me know. Also on Amazon Kindle, what I'm finding is it's taken them 6 to 7 days to update the chapter, so it will actually be probably a week behind. Just a reminder of why I'm teaching you everything that I know that I do for my clients that works. It's because I want to pay forward the help that was given to me in the past. If you have been finding these videos useful, then please like the videos. Also, please share them with any business owners you know who have a local business where they want people from their local area, or anyone who has an online store. You never know how useful they might find it too. Firstly, a summary of what we covered last week in week 2. So how much time are you going to spend on the ongoing SEO each week? And then we looked at the 2 types of ongoing SEO. So backlinks or adding new pages and posts. Backlinks giving you like votes for your website, and new pages and posts improving your value. A reminder again of how much time you would like to invest in SEO and what kind of value that's going to bring to your website. So if you are able to do 2 hours a week, then effectively you're investing $1,000 a month of SEO into your website. In a competitive industry where you have more than 10 people competing for your keywords, you may need to do SEO for like 2 to 4 hours a week forever. But in a non-competitive industry where you've got less than 10 people competing for your keywords, then you can get away with a lot less time investment, and you could even possibly stop SEO at some point in time and see how you go, and then maybe restart it again, or maybe just spend 1 month out of every year doing some extra SEO on your site. So today in week 3, we're going to run through some simple on-site changes. Now these changes can seem very simple, and you might wonder, is it really worth making that change? Yes, yes, yes is the answer. These like really small changes can actually have a really big impact on your rankings and therefore on your SEO results with respect to the traffic that you're getting to your website. So I'm going to run through these changes, and if you need to make any of them to your website, then you've got 3 choices. Firstly, you could ask a web developer to change it for you if you've got a web developer that you're using for your website. Otherwise, you could search for instructions for your website CMS, so whether it's WordPress or Shopify or Joomla or whatever your site, Wix, whatever your site is built on. And then, for instance, if it's in WordPress, it might have there's a whole range of different templates. So you might need to look at not only WordPress, but also the template, just to find out how you need to implement these changes and do it yourself. The third option is that you can email me with your website login, and then if I can actually do it, because I'm not a web developer myself, so there's certain things that I can do and certain things that I can't do. But if I can, then I'll record a video of that on YouTube so that it's available to anybody to be able to see it. So you need to be comfortable with me doing it on your website and the world being able to see it. And if I can't do it, then I'll find a web developer that can help make the changes for you. So these include looking at the contact page information, the footer information, what you've got in your copyright and the developer link, your sidebar and any calls to action, the CTA, and also your sitemap page. Let's look at the Contact Us page. Okay, so firstly we're going to run through for a local business Contact Us page, and then we will do the online store Contact Us page. With a local business, as I mentioned when you were doing the business directories, you also want to have your business name, address, and your local phone number, if possible, on the Contact Us page. So this is the information that you're putting in all of the business directories. It needs to be the same on every business directory, but this information also needs to be on your Contact Us page so that Google can compare the information you've put in the directories to the information that's on your website. And apparently, according to everybody who's supposedly in the know, they use the data from your Contact Us page. The other thing I would recommend adding into your Contact Us page is your Google Map. So if we go to my Fruitful Online website, so this is my previous website where I was actually targeting Brisbane initially when I used to live in Brisbane, and then I was targeting the Sunshine Coast for where I live now. So this was set up as a local business website to try and target people in my local area. And you'll see that I've got Fruitful Online SEO, I've got like my address on there, and then I have a mobile phone number because I don't have like a landline phone number. But if you had like a landline phone number that had your local area code in it, then that can certainly help as well. And then if you scroll down, you'll see that there's a Google map as well. The other thing that you can put in your Contact Us page is any social profiles that people might use to contact you with. So for me over here, I have some of my YouTube channels, and then I've also got links to my other social media accounts on here. Now these bits here aren't, critical for SEO. However, it could be critical to your business if you want people to contact you on specific things. And I see I still haven't even removed Google Plus, even though Google Plus no longer actually exists. So I need to do that. Now there's a thing called schema, and this is where I'm going to get like a little bit technical, but schema, having like what they call like a schema markup, is something that's supposed to help local businesses, and it's something that you can put on your Contact Us page. So I'm just going to show you sort of what it looks like. So if I come into the back end of my website where this bit is, and then I click on there to edit it, and it would look like this, the visual bit. Let's get rid of Google Plus, and if we go into the text section, all this stuff here is called the schema. So it's got like class, organization name, and then it's got down here like class, street address, etc., etc. So I got a web developer to do that for me because coding is not my thing. I don't have a coding background, and so I wanted to make sure that it was like done correctly. But saying that, I have plenty of businesses that have been on the first page of Google for ages, sort of before any of this schema stuff became important, and they rank number one, no problem whatsoever. And I've never implemented this schema on their site because of the way that their website is coded, and so there's never been any problem. So I can't say to you that there's definitely a massive advantage of putting the schema in compared to just having it there. If you don't have your phone, like what did I do there? If you don't have your business name, address, and phone number on your Contact Us page, then that's going to definitely have a big impact on SEO. Whether you then go and get the schema put into it, I don't know whether that's going to have a massive extra benefit over just having it there in the first place. But hey, any little extra bits can help. So if you have a web developer, doesn't charge you a fortune for doing things, then you could ask them to do it. Otherwise, there is information here if you're kind of techie and like that sort of thing, where you can go to Google and you can find out exactly what kind of data what kind of schema code that you need to put in there for a local business website. There's also a newer WordPress plugin, which I believe helps you with this. And on Yoast SEO, there's like a paid version that helps you with this. So, that could be an option as well if that's something that you want to pursue. But like I said, the key critical thing is to make sure you actually just have that there in the first place. The number of websites that I go to where it's not in this content of the page. Yes, you might have your phone number up here. Yes, you might have, your address or phone numbers or whatever down here. But where Google has said it's important, and that's like really annoying on my site how it does that, that's why I'm changing over, where it says it's really important is in like the content of the page itself. Okay, so let's have a look at an online store contact us page. So with an online store, it's a lot more difficult to get yourself listed in business directories. It's not a major strategy for an online store unless you actually have a physical address. If you have a physical address and a physical premises, then again, having your address, local phone number, and a map on there is going to be really important because you're going to have your business name as well. However, if you're like a purely online store, you don't have your address on there at all or a phone number because nobody ever comes to visit you at your location, then you still want to make sure you're going to have your business name and your social profiles on your Contact Us page. So in practice, if I go to my particular website, it's not technically like an online store because it's more of an affiliate site, but I'm still going to have my business name on the Contact Us page. Obviously, I want to have like contact forms. That kind of goes without saying on the contact page. And then if you wanted to, you could have links to your social media where you want people to contact you. So for me, on my personality types website, if anyone wants to talk to me or ask me questions, they're going to do it through my YouTube channel over here. So they can definitely connect there on YouTube as well. So my new website is largehope.com. So I'm transitioning from Fruitful Online over to largehope.com. And this is different now because in the past I was targeting people who searched SEO Brisbane or SEO Sunshine Coast, but I'm not anymore. So my new website is something that people from anywhere in the world will be able to use the products and services. So my new website is really like a virtual products and services website. So I'm no longer interested in having my contact information, and like I said before, with respect to say my address and phone number, because it's no longer relevant, because I don't need to do stacks of business directories in order to rank this kind of website. And so on this kind of website, I'm still going to have my business name there, contact form, and then various ways that people can connect with me and ask questions. So what I want you to do now is go to your website, have a look at the Contact Us page. Are you a local business where people are going to search for whatever services you provide and the location? Then you need to definitely have that on your website. Are you an online store? Do you actually have your business name on the Contact Us page? Have you got social profiles there where people can connect to you and contact you through those means if that's something that you want to encourage people to do? Let's look at the footer now. So the information that you put in the footer of your website goes onto every single page of your website. So the footer sections is when you scroll right down to the bottom, and it's anything that's down here that is on every page of your website. So often you can have one section like that, and then you can have like another footer bar at the bottom as well. So on a local website, there's certain information that would be really important to put in a footer, and then we'll go through that. And then on an online store, there's information that you would put on that. So firstly, with a local business, it really is a very big opportunity to add some local SEO into your footer. I'm going to call them widgets, and the widget just refers to each kind of section. So this is sort of one section, this is a second section or widget, third widget, fourth widget, etc. Sometimes you might only have 2 widgets in the footer, sometimes you have 3 widgets in the footer. It doesn't really matter. It's more about putting the information in there. It doesn't matter what order this information is in. You can have the information from widget 1 over here. You can have widget 3's information here. It's just about making sure that you have this information in there somewhere. So one of the first things people have is tiny little about section about themselves. That's not critical. You don't have to have that in there, but I see it on most websites, so I just thought I'd put it there. If you want to put it there, that's fine. It gives you an opportunity to put some more keywords into the footer, and maybe it helps as far as people knowing sort of exactly what your site is about. But something that is really, really important for a local business is that we're going to have this information in there. So we service people living or working in these areas. Or you might have something like, it might just say servicing and then list the areas. And so we'll just scroll down to this section here because I want to show you this example. So if your business is in Florida in the USA, then you need to think about what locations are most important to you in order to get clients from. So it might be that you're actually targeting these major cities. It might be that it's the smaller cities that are nearby. It might actually be locations within a city itself, such as these. So on this site here, because we're a mobile hairdresser, we've put locations within a city because as a mobile hairdresser, you're not going to be targeting sort of all the major cities that are in Florida. However, if you were, maybe you did mold removal and you had a business that could cover the whole of Florida and you had people working in every single city and area doing mold removal, then you might put that into the footer instead. So it's all about what are the locations that people are going to come from. If you're a business that has like a physical location that people come to, then usually the locations you service or the distance that people are willing to travel is a lot less than if you're actually the one that is traveling to them. Now, the reason why it's so important to have these locations in your footer is that your footer is on every single page of your website. So what that means is that on your home page, you're optimizing it for mobile hairdresser and every single one of those locations. On the men's hairdresser page on your website, you're also optimizing it for every single one of those locations. So if someone searched men's hairdresser South Miami, then the men's hairdresser page will come up. If someone searched kids hairdresser Coconut Grove, then that page will come up for the kids hairdresser. If someone searched ladies hairdresser downtown Miami, then the ladies hairdresser page will come up. So it's incredibly powerful at making sure that for each location and then for every service that you also provide, that you have an opportunity to rank for those. So in the second widget, what you want to do is you want to have links to the important pages on your website. So you really want to have links to these service pages because every time that you put a link in your website to one of these service pages, you're telling Google that it's an important page on your website. So Google will look at how many links on your website are going to your mobile hairdresser page, and in this case we're going to be linking that to the home page. How many links are there on your website going to the mobile hairstylist page? And so what I'm always trying to do is make sure that the highest number of internal links is going to these critical pages on the website. So the home page and then these other critical pages. And in this case, rather than putting home there as the word that it's linking on, I'm also going to be linking on whatever the most important keyword is for the home page. You're then going to have other pages on the site that Google wants to see. So Google usually wants to see a link to a privacy policy and a sitemap in the footer, and then you might have links to pages that are important for people. So one of the most important pages on a website that people go to once they've already reached the website is your About page. So it's very rare that someone's going to search about Dan's mobile hairdressing. They might, but it's unusual. When people go to the About page, it's because they've come to your website and now they're like, oh, what's this person's philosophy and beliefs and who are they? And therefore, am I aligned with their values and philosophies, and do I want to use them as my hairdresser? People will also go and have a look at your testimonials. They may search, Dan's mobile hairdressing testimonials, probably more likely to search testimonials than about. But again, the testimonials is a page people will often want to go to once they reach your website. So again, in the written information, I've just given you another example. So for these links, if you were a deck builder, then the links to your service pages, again, you'd link to the home page, but instead we'd probably link on a word like decks or whatever one of the main keywords is for the home page. Then you could have your other main services there as well. And then you would link to sort of the other important pages on the website. So in the third widget or somewhere in the footer, you usually want to have follow us on social media. So you want to have some kinds of social media icons is usually what you would see. But you can also embed like Facebook and YouTube like I've done. So if you go and have a look on mine, then I have got this embedded in my site. So I have YouTube there where people can click on that and they can subscribe, and they can also like the Facebook page. Now you'll notice on mine that I put the links to my important pages actually down here in the footer bar, and that's okay as well. So it doesn't necessarily have to be in this section, just somewhere in there. And then the other thing that you can put in there, just say if you're just going to use the social media icons, you don't want to have this embedded bit, then you might want to put some kind of sponsorship or logos in there. So you can see that I've got things that I am a member of. So I donate to Joining Hands, which is an organization that gives massages to homeless people. And then I'm also a member of the Chemical Free community. And then you have over here, I've also got links to my videos, which again is like another social thing. Then in widget 4 or somewhere in the footer, you would also have your contact information, because this is a local business again. So you're going to put your business name, you're going to put your address, and then you're going to put your phone number. And potentially in some cases you can even embed a Google map there in the footer if there's enough space for it, because that can really help people if they can click on that if they're trying to drive to your location. In this case, Dan's mobile hairdressing, he may not have people that are going to come to his location very often, and so he may not put the map there. In fact, if it's purely mobile, he may not even want to put his address there, but that would then make it obviously very difficult for him to be able to list themselves in business directories and get the benefit of the business directories. What you can do in some cases, if you really don't want to put your full address there, is that you could take off the number so that it just had Langley Street, or you could even just take off the street and just have this part of the address and phone number there. Probably wouldn't have home office either as a mobile hairdresser, would you? It'd be like home studio or something. So whatever is obviously relevant to your website is what you want to be putting in these sections. The other thing that I would recommend doing is going to Google and having a look at the footers of your competitors. So just say if you're a local business that's an electrician and you want people who are typing in the keyword electrician Sunshine Coast, then you can go and see what your competitors have got on their website. So we go and look at this person, and then that one looks like a real website, that one there. So see if there's anything specific in your industry that people are putting in their footer. So look, this one has hardly anything in their footer. So if you go and put the stuff in your footer that I recommended, then you're definitely going to be ahead of them, unless this is their whole footer. Let's have a look and see if we go to one of their other pages. No, so this is just their footer. So all they're putting in there is location service. So you can do way better than them. Let's have a look at this one. So they've got some information there. They've got a link to one of their services pages. They've got social media. They've got recent blogs. I definitely don't recommend putting blogs in the footer, because we don't want people to go to your blogs. We want people to actually contact you. So I'm going to talk about that later on. But yeah, if you see blogs in your competitor's footer, don't put them there. Let's have a look. What they don't have is, in this case, they don't have the locations that they service anywhere in there, and they don't have their address in there. So again, you could do better than them by adding things in. What about this one? They've got the about, they've got the address, they've got maps, phone, they've got a testimonial in the footer. Look, you could put testimonials in the footer, but again, that could be taking up space. So I recommend that you don't put these things in your website footer, so links to blog posts, because then that creates internal links to the posts that are not really important. Your blog posts are rarely the most important pages on your website. Yes, they can bring you traffic, unless it is for some reason a very specially important blog post, then you could put a link to that there. But don't just put links to the latest blog posts or something like that, because it's creating internal links to that and telling Google that that's a super important page, when really it's your services and your products that are the most important page. Also, I wouldn't put testimonials in the footer, because they tend to take up too much space that is actually needed for these critical other things. If you really didn't have very much of these other things to put in the footer, then maybe you could put a little testimonial in there. But again, you need to look at sort of what's in that testimonial, because whatever you put in the footer is going to be on every single page of your website. And so if they're talking about in the testimonial about one specific service that you do, and you have 10 different services, then you don't necessarily really want that on every page of your website. So now, whether you have a local business or an online store, I recommend going and having a look at the footer on your website and seeing if you have all this information in your footer. Is it there or not? Now, for a footer on an online store, it's similar but different. So again, you could have an about section that had sort of some information about what you actually do. But the critical thing again is going to be like where you deliver to. Now, this isn't just important for Google, but it's like really important for people, because the worst thing is if you go to like an online store and then you have to search forever to try and find out, well, where do you actually deliver to? Do you even deliver to my country? Is there even any point on being on this website? And Google also wants to know that information, because if you deliver to the location that that person is in, then they're obviously going to be more likely to show people your website. And you really don't want people to come to your website if you can't deliver to them. It's better that they never go to your website at all, because if they go to the site and then if they click away really quickly, then that's not great either. So this can really help your SEO, because you're actually putting in sort of like the country there. So United States of America, Canada. I mean, depending on what keywords people search with, you might put US or something like that in there as well. So this is really important for your rankings, to be able to rank for your country, and also really important for people so that they know whether there's even any point being on your website. Then in the second widget or somewhere in the footer, it would be ideal to have links to your major product categories. So hair care, skincare, makeup, or whatever your main product categories are. And in fact, you might have a whole list of them. You might have enough of those to kind of fill up this whole space here. In fact, sometimes you might have so much that you might even have 2 widgets that are just full of the categories of your products. So you can just need to mix and match these all around so that it kind of, is nicely evenly spaced. Then the other pages again that you might have on an online store, you might have a link to the home page. Not so critical that is on a keyword, but it could be on a keyword if there's something that is particularly useful. So it might be beauty store or something like that you might use instead of home. Then you've got delivery information, your terms and conditions, sitemap privacy, that kind of thing. And you might have a stack of other pages as well of information that people need to know if they're ordering products from you. I wanted to show you that on this website because we can see that on, say this is a online store, they do natural products. And so if you come down and have a look at their footer, it's huge. It kind of starts from, I'm not even sure where their footer starts, maybe there. They've got a whole stack of information here that can be useful to people. And so, they've taken up a whole lot of information of their footer with loads and loads of links there. Now what they don't have in their footer, which is interesting, is like links to the categories, the shop categories in their website, which I would definitely recommend. So they maybe could have put those over there, but instead it looks like they are trying to rank for these various store locations, and so maybe they think that is more important for their website. So then again, you usually want to have some kind of follow on social media and maybe sponsorship logos there. So again, if I go and show you on my website in the footer here, so I have my social media icons there, and then people can also connect on YouTube. And then often what you'll have on an online store is some kind of mailing list. So with some kind of coupon, that sort of thing. So on this site, they've got sign up for a newsletter, but I often see on online stores, sign up for a newsletter and get 50% off, that kind of thing. So you'll see over here with them, they've got their social media icons. They've also got things that they stand for. Payment options may be another thing that you want to put in the footer as well. And then they've got like awards and things down here as well, because they've won a whole stack of awards. So again, that could be a great thing to put into your footer. The other thing that I would recommend doing is going to Google and having a look at the footers of your competitors. So just say you're a natural health online store, do a search in Google, and we want to go and then have a look at all of your competitors and see what have they got in their footers, and is there something that I could put in there that would actually be helpful to people. So if we go down to the footer of this website, we see that they've got their useful links. They've also got contact information. They've got a PO box that they've put in there. They've got information on why choose us. It looks like they've got their manufacturers there, and they've got they've got popular categories there. Then, and I haven't checked any of these beforehand, but again, you might have account information that you need to have there. Then they've got, shippings, returns, warranty, that kind of stuff. They've got the about us with some of their pages there. Gift cards, if you have that, social payments. So you can just go through and see, okay, is there anything in my industry that other people are putting in their footers that is pretty common that I should be putting in my footer as well? So I recommend that you don't put these things in your website footer, so links to blog posts, because then that creates internal links to the posts that are not really important. Your blog posts are rarely the most important pages on your website. Yes, they can bring you traffic, unless it is for some reason a very specially important blog post, then you could put a link to that there. But don't just put links to the latest blog posts or something like that, because it's creating internal links to that and telling Google that that's a super important page, when really it's your services and your products that are the most important page. Also, I wouldn't put testimonials in the footer because they tend to take up too much space that is actually needed for these critical other things. So now, whether you have a local business or an online store, I recommend going and having a look at the footer on your website and seeing if you have all this information in your footer. Is it there or not? In the third section today, we're going to look at the copyright in the footer and also check if you have a developer link. So the first thing is the copyright. So the copyright notice in the footer generally means that you cannot copy the website content without the owner's permission. But you need to check in your country, like what is actually required for the copyright. So this is the template that I use for my sites. So I use the word copyright and then the symbol copyright and then the year that their website first went live and then the current year, their business name, and then all rights reserved. And so this is in Australia. So an example of that would be on my past website. If you go to the footer, you can see I've got the symbol. So I don't actually have the word copyright there. But I do have the dates and then the business name and then all rights reserved. If you go onto my new website as well now, because this one is only been published in 2020, so I can only have 2020 there and then all rights reserved for that one. Now in the US, apparently you can use just the copyright word or just the copyright symbol, but in many countries it's only legal if you have this symbol. So you just need to see what it actually is in your country. Now, some sites will list like the start date that they were published and then each year that there's actually an update to the website. Now, in most cases, websites are being updated in some way almost every year, and so that could end up being a very long list of dates, which is certainly why I prefer to have a range on there. Now, I don't know how much impact this actually would have on the SEO on a website. Like Google may use it to determine if the site is actually being looked after or if it's being updated. If somebody who is a potential client pays very close attention to detail, and if it's 2020 but your website your website copyright says 2019, then that might put some people off, and so therefore it's going to be important to make sure it's always up to date each year. And so I go through with my clients at the start of every year and fix that for them, update it. Some websites it will actually automatically update for you, so if you have got a web developer who can work out how to automatically update it, then that'd be pretty cool as well. I think also if you're sort of listing a range, then that might help increase some people's conversions. If you've got people who pay close attention to detail and are like, wow, this company's been in business for a very long time. Now, when I say developer link, I mean the link that sometimes is put in the footer of a website that links from your website to your web developer's website. So if you have a link like that, I found a site here. They're not one of my clients, I don't know who they are, but I can see in the footer it says powered by Apex Digital. And if I click on it, then it actually takes me to a website, which is the marketing people for the website. So what we want to do is make sure that that link is what's called a no follow link. And if it's a no follow link, then it helps you and your developer. It'd be good for both of you. If it is what's called a follow link, then this will actually pass juice from your website to the web developer's website. And you don't want to be doing that on every single page of your website. And in fact, it's not actually good for the web developers either, because then they get hundreds of links to their website from an irrelevant industry. Because if this site here is a patio builder, and if you get hundreds of links from a patio builder's site to a web developer's site, that's not relevant. So what you want to do if you do find a link to your developer's site is, your choice. You don't have to have it. You can always remove it. It doesn't have to be there. But if you do want to keep it there, then what you need to do is check to see if it's a follow or no follow link. So the first thing you do is right click and tap view page source. So you go over to the website, you find some sort of space over here, right click on that, and it will have here view page source. And so when you click on view page source, it will take you to something that looks like this. And then what you want to do is do Control F on a PC or Command F on a Mac, so that it brings up this little box up here, and then you can put in Apex Digital, because you want to find the spot in the code that has this section. So you can see it highlights it in orange here, and we can see that it's here powered by, and then it's got the link to their website. Target equals blank just means it will open it up in a new tab, and then strong just means that it's bold. But nowhere in there does it say what we need it to say, which is rel equals no follow. So I'll show that over here. So what we need it to say is rel equals no follow somewhere in that code, and it's not saying that. So this is the code that it's currently got there, and then how it would need to be changed so that instead it had like this, and then it has rel equals no follow, and then it went on with the rest of it. So if your web developer's link doesn't say rel equals no follow, then it is by default a follow link, and you are passing juice to them, but it's also not helping them because it's a footer link. Because see, usually with a follow link, it's just one link within a page, right? But with this, the web developer is getting hundreds of links to their website from your footer. Well, that's if you've got hundreds of pages on your site. If you only had 10 pages on your site, then it's only going to give 10 links to the web developer's site. So however many pages you have on your site is however many links is going to go to their site. And in Google's eyes, it's an irrelevant industry that's linking to their site, so it's not actually helping anybody. So all you need to do is either ask your web developer to remove this link, ask them to make it a no follow link, or obviously you might be able to change it yourself. The fourth thing today is your website sidebar and your calls to action. So think about what it is that you most want people to do when they're on your site. And if it's good for people, then it's going to be good for Google. So if you have a local business, then the thing that you most want people to do is to contact you, right? So your sidebars are going to be good for getting leads, but they also help with your internal linking if you're putting links to the most important pages there again. So in order to get leads, you would probably put things like your phone number, contact form, or a button. Sometimes it's like a quote button. And then you want to put links to all the service pages as well. If we go and look at my Fruitful Online site, which as I've mentioned I was using as a local business website, then you can see that I have calls to action in my sidebar. So the priority thing that I wanted people to do was to connect on YouTube. And so this is a page that has, say, like case studies, but then they can also contact me. Then I've got links to the main services on my website as well. And so that's going to help with internal linking and making sure that Google knows these are the most important pages on my website. With an online store, if you think about what do you want people to do, you actually want them to buy products from you. So the sidebar is good for product sales, but it also helps with internal linking. So with an online store, we've got links to the products, links to the product categories, and filtering options is usually the kind of things that you see in the sidebar, helping with product sales and your internal linking. If we go this time and have a look, I just found this random site. I just looked up ethical eco clothing and this site came up. I don't have anything to do with them and I've never been to the site before, but look, it was just really interesting because they have the sidebar there and they're showing, like I said, all of their important products. And this is what I would recommend. You want to put your products, your product categories down the side here. Then you'll find it has filtering options as well. I don't know what's going on with this word, but if we click on natural, then it should just bring up all of the clothes that are natural. So that's all we've got with that. And then we can get rid of that one. So now instead, maybe I want to look for everything that is red. And then I want everything that's in a size 12. So now it's just going to show me everything on this store that's in red and that's in a size 12. So like that's super useful, right? And so if it's good for people, then it's also good for Google. Now, in many websites, the pages these days don't have sidebars. So if you go to one of the pages on the site, you won't actually see a sidebar anymore in this new kind of beautiful formatting that we have. And so therefore, if you need to put like a call to action, if you're a service business and you need to have someone to phone you or email you, then you usually want to put that somewhere in the page. So often it will be in the page content, somewhere near the bottom or in the middle. It might be a button, but you definitely want to make sure that somewhere in any of your service pages on your website that there is some kind of call to action to get people to phone you or email you. That's going to be critical for conversions. It doesn't help with SEO. SEO can get people to the page, but I like to give you a bit of extra help there as well because we don't only want to get people to the page, but we want to get them to actually contact you. In the blog posts, if there isn't like a sidebar, then I'll usually add one to a website. So if we go to my, say, personality types website, and if someone was in the blog, then they're going to see this sidebar on every blog post. If we go to like an online store, and we're in the blog now, so this is on my brother's website, this is his blog, and in his sidebar, he's actually got a product there, he's got another product here, and then he's got some other things about winning free products and joining the training group. So whatever it is, whatever calls to action it is that you want people to take, you want that to be there in the blog, in any blog posts that they go to, so that not only are they reading your useful information, but they're also hopefully connecting with you in some kind of meaningful way. Again, with your products, your shop and category pages often have that sidebar link that links to lots of other products. And then on the individual product pages, you often have like similar products listed below. So if we go back to that online store that I just found, if we just decided to go in and have a look at this dress, and then we scroll down and it's got you may also like, and so then it has other products there, and that's pretty usual on a product website. So yes, the main benefit from an SEO perspective of having a sidebar is that you're getting these internal links, and you're therefore telling Google what the most important pages are on your website. The calls to action are really, really important if you actually want people to buy your products and services. So a combination of those two is certainly going to make sure that you're ranking higher, and that once people get to your site, they're more likely to actually contact you. So the fifth and last thing that we're going to look at today is making sure that you have a sitemap page on your website. So this is actually called an HTML sitemap, and it's just a page on your website. And all it does is it lists all the important pages and posts that you might want people to access. So you can click on this link to go and see a real live sitemap, which is the one on my personality types website. And it just looks like that. And usually what you then have as well is a link in the footer here that goes to this sitemap. So when I was talking about the footer before, and I was talking about having a link to the sitemap, it's to this sitemap that you've just created on your website as a page on your website. So it's been suggested that having this helps with your SEO, so having this HTML sitemap. It's not something that I've tested. I have sites that are ranking at #1 that don't have an HTML sitemap, but on all my new clients' websites, I will automatically create one of these HTML sitemaps if they don't have one when I get them. Now, the thing to note is that there are actually two types of sitemaps. There's the HTML sitemap, this one here that we just spoke about, and there's another one called an XML sitemap. Now, SEO plugins often automatically create these XML sitemaps for you. And so you can actually see a real link to a XML sitemap here. So if I click on that, you can see that this is my XML sitemap. It's actually been created by the Yoast SEO plugin on my website. And this is the sitemap that you're going to submit to Webmaster Tools. So we're going to talk about that later, but this sitemap is very important for SEO, and I just wanted to make you aware that it's totally different to this sitemap here that we just spoke about. Okay, so that is the end of week 3. If you do have any questions, remember to put them in the comments in the video below. Otherwise, you can email me, or you can come along to the free Q&A and talk about anything you want to talk about to do with your website. Okay, see you next week.